name is Eva B and I'm an Arkansas 4-H ambassador as well as being the Ouachita District Vice President. And this is my brother.
I'm Jack Berryhill and I'm a Hot Spring County team leader.
Okay. Today we're going to be teaching you how to make cinnamon roll challah bread. It's a pretty good snack and pretty sweet and enjoyable. We have our ingredients laid out ready for us to use. We have a cup of warm water, 6 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 eggs, a tablespoon of yeast, a 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, and then 4 cups of bread. Not bread, flour. We will not have our filling made until the bread is in the rising process. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your cup of warm water and put it in your mixer. Then you're going to add your olive oil. And you're going to mix that just a little bit. And get your eggs ready to pour in. You pour in the egg strip. Okay? And then we can add our eggs. Careful, Jack. Okay, we'll just let those mix for a little bit. You don't need to wash your hands now that we have touched eggs. Now that Jack and I have sanitized our hands after messing with eggs, we're going to add our tablespoon of yeast. This is what allows the bread to rise. We add our yeast, and then you mix that for a little bit to allow the yeast to activate. Otherwise, your bread won't really rise as well. A lot of people allow it to rise for like 10 minutes. I prefer just to do it just for a few seconds. While that's happening, we're going to get our other ingredients ready. Jack will grab the salt. Okay. The yeast has been mixed in. 4 tablespoons of sugar, or 4 cup of sugar. Jack, you can add the salt. And we'll just let that mix in. Okay. Get our flour ready. Okay, and when you're mixing in flour, the consistency of your substance of bread will get thicker, so it's better to change your hook to a kneading hook, because that'll be able to mix it better. Okay, and then we're going to slowly add in our flour. So I'm just going to put a little bit in at a time and mix it. Okay, and while you're mixing in the last bit of your flour, some of your flour may get caught up on the sides of your mixing bowl. You don't want that to happen because you want all the flour to be incorporated. So I usually just take a rubber spatula and carefully kind of knock it down into the dough to make sure that all gets mixed in. And you wait until most of your dough collects onto the kneading hook like a little ball. And after that happens, you're ready to start the rising process. Which, when I start making bread, I usually preheat the oven to about 375, which is what this recipe requires. Because the dough will like to have a moist environment to rise. If it's warmer, then it'll rise faster. And then you will take your dough off your hook because it will stick. And then take your bowl, set it on your warm stove top, and then you'll grab a clean tea towel to place over the dough for approximately 1 hour. Okay, since we're making cinnamon roll challah, it wouldn't be cinnamon roll challah without the cinnamon roll filling. So that's what we're going to be making next. First, we have our cup of brown sugar. Then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 cup of white sugar, and then we're going to kind of incorporate that in. And then I'm going to have my wonderful assistant here slowly pour in our 1/2 cup of melted butter. Now, the butter we're using today is salted. If you were using unsalted butter, you'd need to add at least a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Ready? Okay, and then our final and last ingredient for our filling is an 1/8 cup of honey. You may need to use your rubber spatula to remove it from your measuring cup. Okay, and then just stir until combined. And then you have made your cinnamon roll challah filling. Okay, our bread has risen, or dough anyway, not bread yet. So we're ready to start the braiding process. First thing you'll need to do is get the dough out of your little bowl. It is sticky. So you need to remove it with a spatula, rubber spatula preferably. Onto a floured surface. Now we're going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on it. Take a little for our hands. And then kind of knead the dough. This is just to make sure there aren't any air bubbles trapped inside the dough and to make it more pliable and easy to shape. And plus, when you're doing this, you get flour on the dough, which makes it less sticky and easier to manage. Now, the recipe I use makes 2 loaves, so we're going to need to cut this dough in half. And I will be braiding one, while Jack will be learning to braid the other. Okay, so Jack, put your little flour in your hands so your hands don't stick. Grab a little more for me. Just gonna knead it a little more since it's still sticky from where I cut it in half. I'm gonna move that out of the way for now. Try to keep that surface floured so it doesn't stick. Okay, and after we do that for a little bit, put in a little circle, and then I'm gonna cut it into 3 semi-equal parts. As long as they're just about the same size, it'll work. Set 2 off to the side. Again, making sure our surface is floured. Roll. And then we just take a lot of time. I like to make sure that I knead these very carefully. After you've kneaded it for a while, then just gently flatten it into a disc, a little circle, and then you can add your filling. So the way I do it is just make sure that the amount of filling you put on your bread leaves enough for all other pieces, because you gotta have enough filling for each of these little balls. So I just take a little bit of it, dab it in the center of my piece of dough. Same. Got it. Okay. And then we're going to pull our edges together. And it will probably leak out, which is perfectly okay. It's messy, but the taste in the end is worth it. So don't be worried if it doesn't close all the way and you have some leaking out, that's fine. So, then after that happens, you're gonna take it, roll it. You won't be able to roll it to a very long strand since it's so full of filling. It'll probably crack, and even though you don't mind a little bit of it busting out, you don't want it to just be cracked open, otherwise you don't want it to stand. So I generally kind of just do this number instead of actually rolling it. Make it very short strand like this. Jack's is a little short for now. You might need to work on it, make it longer. But you're gonna do that with each of these pieces. Now we're gonna show you how to braid your strands. Now, our strands did not turn out perfect, so ideally you wouldn't have this much leaking out. But the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna braid it just like you would braid hair. You're gonna take your ends, you're gonna connect them together, squish them in. And it does look pretty bad with ours, but it's okay, the weather worked against us. I'm going to put that. And then where this crossed over, then you'll cross that one over. Make sure you're keeping yours tight, so Jack, you might want to move that one up tighter. Again, and you just do that, tight, tight, until you come to the end, then you kind of squeeze them together like you did at the top and fold under. Now there are several different ways you can braid challah, but with cinnamon roll challah, the 3 strands the best, because if you try to divide it into any more strands of dough, you'll be able to put less filling in there, and you probably have a lot more leakage of filling. Okay, so now we're going to transfer our loaves onto their greased pans. And there they will rise for another hour. Okay, our bread has risen for another hour after we breaded it. The final step before baking, put egg wash on it. Jack and I, you just take an egg and you beat it. And then you take a brush and apply. Cover the entire loaf in egg wash. I'm gonna take that much. Okay. And then since this is cinnamon roll challah bread, I like to sprinkle just a little bit of cinnamon sugar on top of my loaf. Now your bread is ready to go in the oven for at least 20 minutes, 25. The way to tell if it's done is when you knock on your challah, it'll sound hollow. Yeah, 25 minutes. Okay, our bread is done and ready to take it out of the oven. And before we take them out, warning you, they look terrible. But they'll probably taste just as delicious as if they look good. And that is how you make cinnamon roll challah bread. As soon as they cool, they're good to be eaten.